Greetings, cinephiles. I'm Sue Wright.
And I'm Kenny Wright.
Welcome to the Wild Rivers Film Radio, the official podcast of the Wild Rivers Film Festival here on KCIW 100.7 FM. Today, we're sitting down with Chris Carr, author of the screenplay Afterglow. But before we dive in, we'd like to thank the Wild Rivers Film Festival's 2025 presenting sponsor, the Tolowa Dene Nation. Your generous support has made both our festival and the Summer Film Workshop possible this year. We also thank our incredible sponsors, the Roundhouse Foundation, Travel Curry Coast, Sutter Coast Hospital, Edward Jones, Our Flower House, Southwestern Oregon Community College, Curry's Campus, and the City of Brookings. If you'd like to join these amazing supporters in helping us celebrate indie cinema, expand film education, and grow a film economy here on the Wild Rivers Coast, visit wildriversfilmfestival.com to learn about sponsorship opportunities. And if you're just discovering us, welcome. The Wild Rivers Film Festival is a 4-day celebration of indie and local cinema each August in Brookings. This year, from August 14 to 17, we'll screen more than 24 films across 3 venues, many followed by filmmaker Q&As. There's also a full slate of panels, VIP parties, and our unforgettable awards ceremony. Festival passes are on sale now at wildriversfilmfestival.com. We'd love to see you here. So, if you're just turning in, you're listening to the Wild Rivers Film Radio. I'm Sue Wright here with Kenny. And today we're talking with Chris Carr and his manager, Beth. Yeah. So let's start at the beginning, Chris. How did you first get into writing and screenplays in particular?
So when I was much younger, I would watch all these YouTube videos about breaking down writing. Lindsay Ellis's The Whole Plate was very formative for me, and I was also drawn to a lot of narrative video games, and I would browse the various pages on TV tropes about all the different examples and what media would subvert it and what would just play it straight. And I started thinking I could do this, and I wanted to be in some kind of art form in general, and movies just kind of ended up being that way. And so writing was just
How old were you at this point?
Maybe about 11, 12.
Okay, because we really want to motivate and inspire our young filmmakers in this area.
Yeah. I lost.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
So we were
I
talking
lost my
about how you got started with screenplay.
So I had always wanted to do some kind of art, and movies and video games were really the things that meshed well with me. And as I was going through YouTube, lessons from the screenplay was also really informative for me. And I would start to pick up all these different tropes and what's good, what's not, why it's good, why it's not. And after a point, once you just start to analyze everything, you're okay, how can I start constructing it with all this analysis and start building off of there? So that's generally how I got into the writing. I figured I could do it with everything that I had just picked up through YouTube.
Okay.
He always had these stories in his head, and he was very talkative. So this was a great outlet for him to put it on paper instead of talking everybody's ears off and when they were coming home from work.
Are you using a script writing software like Final Draft?
Yeah, I got Final Draft about last year for Christmas. Before then, I was using Trelby, which one of my teachers at UCF had recommended, which is completely free. It just took me a little while to figure out how to convert it to a PDF.
Okay.
But Final Draft is much smoother.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you've gotten your process down, it sounds like. Tell us about Afterglow and how this project came to be.
So, the ending of La La Land where they see each other and then all the memories come back and they're just kind of wondering what could have been. I wanted to create something kind of like that. And so Afterglow with them meeting up at like a wedding after they've broken up. I'm like, okay, that could probably be it. But there's in it a lot of regret, and you probably want to address the issue at some point, which is basically what Afterglow is all about. It's addressing that past relationship long after it's done and giving closure to something that may have been nagging you for years.
That's interesting because you're a fairly young writer, and this feels like the kind of screenplay. I mean, it's retrospective. I don't know, the characters might be in their mid-30s or somewhere
Late
in there.
20s, early 30s.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm kind of like a reflective person in general. Being the lonely child, not the only child, but the lonely child makes you turn inward very fast.
Okay, do you want to explain that just a little bit more, or should we leave it?
I would rather leave.
Okay, we'll leave it. That's fine. Thank
You want me to explain it?
No.
Okay.
So let's talk about the 2025 Wild Rivers Film Festival this August 14th through 17th. How did you actually learn about the festival and what drew you here?
So I had submitted Afterglow to the Orlando Film Festival, and then I came home from work one day. It was like maybe 1 a.m. And I just decided, you know what, check my emails. I'm not expecting anything. And I see that I got selected for the Orlando Festival. And then I got an email from Daniel, the executive director, saying that your script would also be selected for Wild Rivers. You just got to submit it. And I'm like, you know what? Why not? Let's go for it. And so then about 2 weeks ago, I'm thinking, I should probably go to that. just if anything, as like a first instance. So this was kind of like a 2-week plan, impromptu.
So where is home?
Home is outside Orlando.
Okay.
Probably like the western edge of Orlando. It's very hot and humid there.
Yes.
Especially
this time of the year.
Yes. So being here in Brookings, which is on the Pacific coast, it doesn't actually feel that humid, and it's pretty chilly right now. This is a very welcome break from the summer, where you can just be sitting inside doing nothing and you will be sweating.
From the Texas Gulf Coast, I can fully agree with that.
Yeah.
This is a much needed escape from the 115 my car was the day I left.
So we do have some warm days, but they're kind of few and far between. So we had a couple of them over the weekend at the Pirate Festival, but we won't talk about that. So is this your first screenplay that you've submitted to a festival?
I submitted a longer one to the Francis Ford Coppola screenplay competition last year. I didn't get selected. So this isn't my first that I've submitted, but this is the first that got any traction.
Well, congratulations. And we're really happy to have you here. So thank you for making the cross-country trip to the West Coast and our beautiful Brookings.
Yeah.
So now that you're here, have you had a chance to explore anything yet?
We went down to one of the beaches where there's a campground nearby. I got to see a pelican try 4 or 5 different times to find food, which was really nice. Every time I think of pelicans, I'm thinking of Finding Nemo and Nigel in that one scene where they're at Sydney Harbor. Yeah, so we went around the beach and we were about to head towards the marina, I think it was.
Down in the harbor?
Yeah, and then, we got the text hey, do you want to be on the podcast? And so then we're just all right, well, let's do that.
Okay, well, when you get through here, I hope you will get down to the harbor and take a... It's quite a pretty little harbor. We're very protected, and there's some fun little shops down there. Some of our sponsors are down there. The Boardwalk Mail and Pithitude is a wonderful little T-shirt gift shop.
We're excited to explore the area and learn as much as we can about it because it is quite beautiful here.
And it is a nice escape from the heat. So, okay. I want to come back to writing, though, and screenwriting in particular. So can you tell us a bit more about the movies or the screenplays that excite you or inform you? I mean,
So my top 4 on Letterboxd are La La Land, Finding Nemo, Lady Bird, and Tron Legacy. Although I probably
okay,
have
that's
to.
that's
I
quite a
love
diverse
Tron.
that's quite a diverse list.
Yes. I always like sort of like this maybe doomed romance aspect. I also really like Titanic in that sense.
We're looking for a theme here.
Yeah. And I've had some troubles with my mom's relationship, so I'm like a troubled relationship is also like kind of a through line I like in the work. Other movies that inspire
So you're
me.
kind of driving towards drama rather than
Yeah.
comedy.
Yeah, maybe inserting some comedy in there and maybe some higher concepts, but high concept would come much later.
Okay.
Yeah. Other things that I'm interested is like politics. I have an idea right now. It's not really much of anything about like this group that might like it'd be a heist movie, right?
Okay.
Except instead of stealing something, they'd like install a bench at like a bus stop. And I think I saw a video out of San Francisco of a group that does just that.
Uh-huh.
And the city, they weren't really interested in those benches, but people are like, we want the bench. And I'm thinking that would be a great idea for a movie about like getting involved in your local government. And, if the local government's not going to do something, you got to do it yourself.
So grassroots kind of
Yeah.
activism.
Yeah.
I'd go.
Yeah.
Kind of like when they fill potholes with pot plants.
Tactical urbanism, I think is what it's called.
That's what it's called.
Okay, but so you talked about the end of La La Land in this retrospective relationship, but I'm curious about what you bring from Finding Nemo.
So Finding Nemo, I watched it when I was like maybe 4 or 5. And the first thing I took from it is that fish are friends, not food. And I don't eat seafood for that sole reason.
Okay.
And then it's just like this relationship that like Marlin and Nemo have where Marlin has to realize that like he can't be, even though he like loves Nemo, he can't be like so overbearing and overprotective. And Nemo has to understand that like Marlin can be a pain in his fin sometimes, but Marlin's not there to like have any sort of malicious intent.
He had
right?
his best interest at heart.
Yeah. Even though he says, don't touch the boat, don't touch the boat. It's for a very good reason.
Okay. And Tron. Let's not forget Tron.
Tron, I also saw when I was like maybe 10. I hadn't seen the original Tron until like maybe a year ago. And it's also about like this kid who's like estranged from his parents. And, he then goes on this like journey. He finds his dad. They get to reconnect, but he doesn't have long before they're just pulled apart again. That's what really stuck with me.
Uh-huh.
Along with just, it looks gorgeous.
It's really good cinematography in that and how they brought in the CGI. And to think about how long ago that movie was actually made to today, and CGI is just so good.
Yeah. Actually, I read an article out of Polygon a while ago about the way they did Jeff Bridges in de-aging and how like the more that this kind of technology gets put onto us, Tron Legacy becomes a self-owned Hollywood because they're just pushing this constantly. It's like, just recast them.
Do you mind if I ask your manager, Beth, a few questions?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Beth, you're his manager or his momager.
Yeah, I refer to myself as his momager.
Okay. We have a number of young talent here that probably would be really interested in how families kind of take this the next step. So you've got a child who's talented or gifted, they're creative, they've got the vision, they're actually doing the work. How do you help them take that next step into, the real world of filmmaking?
Well, I guess it's different for every child. It's just like motivations and what drives it. Everyone is different. And with Chris, he's always been extremely independent, even from a toddler where he wanted to be the one to put the entire gallon of milk back into the refrigerator. Nobody could help him, not even support the bottom so it wouldn't end up on the floor. So he always had that independence. So we had to give him plenty of room to do those types of things, and he wouldn't share his work, so we had to bribe him or beg him. Even with Afterglow, he wouldn't let me read the script until he asked me what I wanted for my birthday, and that was it. I wanted to read the script. So, you have to give them the room that they need, but you also have to be there to support them and guide them. We don't always disagree. We tend to debate a lot, usually at 10 o'clock at night after a long day. So, but it's really guiding them along the way of their own creativity. I think with Chris, when I do give him feedback or advice, his independence is like, no, I already know about this. So I think we're getting to a point now where he understands where, we go back to Finding Nemo, that I have his best interest at heart and that I want to support him. And I'm getting to understand that his creativity drives him, and I've got to let him explore that, even if I don't agree always in the direction that he wants to go. It's a tough balance for any parent and child. It's just like kind of when they grow up, you've got to let them go at some point, and you still have that protective nature to them,
Yes.
or for them.
I certainly understand that
It's
feeling.
a difficult thing to do, but we manage and we talk it out. We argue, we hug, we fight, we love each other and support each other. There's going to be good days and bad days. And, bottom line, it's the fact that, we're there for each other regardless of how the day starts or ends.
Okay.
I got to ask you, though, you finally got Afterglow, the screenplay for Afterglow out of him. Are you having to, pull teeth to get the next projects out?
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to give us a little sample of what you got coming through the pipeline for your next projects?
So I have I guess it's best to call it a thriller. It wouldn't fit our typical definition of horror, even though it may be. About a trans woman who has to basically shoot her ex who's stalking her, while she's also trying to just live her life and be a normal person. So I think I'm about maybe 5 or 6 pages into that, but I have the general story beats all lined out. It's just
I like the fact that you're not stuck in one genre.
yeah.
So, what are the big satisfactions that you get out of screenwriting?
I think part of it is the catharsis. I'm one of those people who just has a lot of imaginary arguments in their head while they're in the shower. And I can put that on paper and think okay, how would this argument reasonably go? But also using film as a mass communication media, you can put a message out there, and sometimes through a movie is the best way to just deliver the message when people aren't expecting it. And
That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
I'm going to interrupt you for just a second.
Yeah,
Because I'm a retired sociology professor from Eastern Washington University.
Nice.
And I decided early on that films were one of the great ways to teach a concept that might otherwise be difficult to get across. So I've been using film as a teaching tool for 30 years.
And I usually get told I'm the crazy one by my classmates. But you're reading too much into this. It's no, I'm not.
Right. Let's take this apart and analyze it.
Yeah.
Let's use it as a case study.
Yeah. So in a lot of ways, it's just using that to send the message that you may not otherwise get, right? You can get on a podium and say, I believe X, Y, and Z, but that might not hit with people. But if you watch a movie where all those same things are espoused, then it might get further into that and into your target audience.
Mm-hmm. And that's one of our goals here at the Wild Rivers Film Festival, is to bring a variety of independent films to our audience here that wouldn't otherwise get to see them. We're 6 hours from Portland with the film festival there, and 6 hours from Bend, 6 hours from San Francisco. So it's really important to our board to bring these diverse topics and issues to our community to explore through film. So I'm looking forward to Afterglow going somewhere. How do you shop it?
I have no idea.
Okay. That's the next step, right?
I don't know if I could shop it because it's like 10 pages. I don't know. I did start writing it with the idea of shooting it, and I just don't know how to get it off the ground.
Okay.
Well, that's one of the things we hope to learn here for him at the film festival and meet some.
So you're going to come to the educational seminars at 10 o'clock at the library because
Yeah.
our filmmakers will be tomorrow. They're talking about pre-production.
Yeah.
And then Saturday, they're talking about production activities. And Sunday, they're talking about post-production.
Yeah.
It's a great way to meet the people that could help you take it the next step.
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited to be here and to learn as much as we can about the industry. We do have some family members who are in the industry, but they've retired now, so the industry's changed over the years.
Oh my goodness, it's changing every year.
It's necessary for us to learn everything we can of what's happening now and today in the industry, and Orlando is actually looking at doing more to attract the film industry back to Central Florida area where it used to be before Disney left. 2004, I think it was 2003, 2004. They left Orlando, so everything kind of faded off into the distance with the credits rolling, if you will. After Disney left, but now they're talking about working to bring back the film industry into Central Florida. So it'll be a good opportunity, for us to learn more here and at other film festivals. And, who knows, maybe we'll end up shooting Afterglow here in Brookings or somewhere.
We would love that. We will help you with that if
All right.
that's what you decide to do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We've got a lot of beautiful locations and
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good script. I wasn't sure what to expect when I read it, because he wouldn't share anything with me, and I was wonderfully surprised.
Okay.
And I knew he had it in them. I just didn't know if he would let it out, if you will.
Are you feeling comfortable now with putting it out there to the world?
A little bit. Yeah. I'll just say yeah at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he'll have no choice. I'm also his publicist. So.
Yeah.
You've already read it.
Yeah, I've read it. It's going places.
Well, we're a film festival that loves shorts. So getting a short produced on a low budget is not impossible. It gets easier all the time with the equipment. So I hope you will talk with Dan Springen, our executive director, who's also a producer.
Absolutely.
And some of our filmmakers, especially those that have shorts out there about, what they're using and how they're managing that. I do have to say that I'm not a filmmaker. I'm a retired professor, but I got my feet wet with the first film back during COVID when our dance studio in town was shut down. And the director of the dance studio was doing a writing workshop at Harvard. And she said, I'm going to write a screenplay. And the next thing we know, we're bringing a crew of 7 across the country to film a narrative version of The Nutcracker, which is screening on Saturday.
Oh, nice.
So it'll be its last film festival showing. We started out in 22. We premiered at Orlando Film Festival, and the film received a Cast Ensemble Award there. So it has about a dozen laurels on it now. I'm going to brag a little bit. But if we had known what we were doing when we started, we wouldn't have done it. So it only exists because we didn't know what we were doing.
But isn't that the way a lot of successes
I think
happen?
that's the way a lot of
Right?
successes happen.
We sometimes fall into them.
Yes.
And find out that, hey, I should have been doing this all along.
So we are coming down to the end pretty fast, but I'm curious which films we have this year at the 2025 Wild Rivers Film Festival that you want to see.
I have not even looked at the
Oh,
itinerary.
okay.
There's so many of them. I looked at a number of them. I want to see the feature film.
Ethan Bloom.
Yeah,
That's coming
yeah.
tonight. Yeah.
And then again, the names escape me because there were so many of them. But there's one about the young lady who's dying and exploring death.
I can't remember the title on that film right
Yeah.
now either.
There were so many good ones.
Yes.
I know, we won't have time to see them all, but they all look extremely. I think I had a dozen I wanted to see.
One of my favorites that's coming back from last year is My Little Rock Star. The producer, Stephanie Williams, was actually here with us last year. And what's interesting is, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't this her first festival as
This
well?
was her
Yeah.
first festival.
So-
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't there one titled We Are Dead?
There is.
Yes. There's
Yes.
that one too I want to see. Yeah.
The best way I take like any new experience is to just throw it all at me and I will figure it out.
That's good advice, because our first year, Sue was talking about a film festival for months on end, and I'd get little bits and pieces here and there, and then all of a sudden I showed up and we had a festival going. I just jumped right into it, and here we are, year 3.
Yeah.
So
Well, we're excited to be here and we're excited to experience the whole festival. So thank you for having us.
Yes. I just
Yeah.
wanted to add, one of the ones that I'm really excited to see this year is called Backseat Driver. And it's about this pair, and they each have an imaginary friend, but their imaginary friends don't get along.
That's a good one.
So,
Yeah.
um,
I'll add that to my list if it's not already there.
okay. What else would you like to say, Kenny? You've been quiet.
I'm just enjoying the conversation. You guys are giving me a lot of good things to think about. That's we're excited for you guys to come all the way from Orlando here, and I'm finding that as a common theme. We're a smaller festival, and it seems to be attracting a good group of creative people that are passionate to be here, because we're not a big festival where you're going to bump into big names and all of that. You get it because we are smaller still. You're getting a higher quality experience with getting to have one-on-ones with producers and filmmakers and set designers and stuff. So you're going to get a really good sense of what to expect from the industry at large because of the smaller experience here.
And our first happy hour is at Brian Scott Gallery this afternoon. And so it's a good place to meet and greet and mingle and get acquainted.
Well,
So I hope you're there.
We'll definitely be there. And if I could, Kenny, to come up on what you just said about the smaller film festivals, the intimate ones are so much nicer because you can connect directly. The larger ones, you can get lost. Even if you're a pro, you
South by Southwest in
Yes.
Austin is a prime example.
And so, we really are looking forward to this entire experience.
We are so glad you're here. So we're going to wrap up. That's it for this episode of Wild Rivers Film Radio. To learn more about the festival, buy passes, volunteer, or explore sponsorship opportunities, visit wildriversfilmfestival.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Our sound booth is Michael Gorse. Our editor is Tom Bozak. I'm Sue Wright with Kenny Ray. And till next time, thank you.